My name is Francesca Mudannayake. I'm 23 years old and I work as a singer, a model, a journalist. I own a B&B and I'm also a PR assistant, and I work for a sexual health organization. I probably describe my sort of between hazelnut and milk chocolate. I think dessert is the best way to sort of describe any skin color. I think the one experience that stands out to me was when I was 16. It was my first paid job and it was for an advert. The director had scouted me, but the advertising agency didn't want to even consider my audition video because I was a dark brown, I had an afro, and yeah, it looked like this basically. The real irony is that the director was a white British male, and he was the only one who was fighting my corner and trying to get me this job, which I eventually did, but not without a lot of backlash from the advertising agency, who were mainly made up of Sri Lankan men. So I think that was the first time it really occurred to me how colorism is deeply ingrained in this country, but we are our own worst enemies. I was 16 at the time, and the thing is, I was always brought up in an environment where skin color wasn't an issue. But suddenly being put in this industry, I work in the arts industry, so suddenly everything comes into full focus. And I think it knocked me about for a six, but then, you know, I ended up getting the job and I ended up smashing it. I ended up getting paid for it, and you know, I got to see myself on screen, so I feel like that was the best victory I could ask for. So as I said before, I was brought up, I mean, my parents are very open-minded and very liberal, so skin color was something they never ever brought up with me. It's a non-issue basically. But having said that, I think the question around family and skin color, I always used to go to my grandmother's place, and suddenly, almost always, a topic would come up about another girl, and she would consistently say, "Oh, she's dark as sin." And I always used to think to myself, what is that? What is the connection between it? Why is dark skin such a, it's a negative connotation for something else? I think it always perplexed me, but then I always put it down to just generational differences half the time. But still, it's still funny to really think about, because my grandmother is just the same color as I am, and it perplexes me that, you know, she would still think this way, that, you know, brown skin is something less than white. I think as a child, and now this is going to sound like really shallow, but I feel like I measured a lot of my beauty based on how much attention I was getting from boys, basically, and that was nil. And I was used to observe that guys would go and give girls who were fairer and lighter skinned more attention, and it's always them who got the guys, and 9 times out of 10, the darker skinned girls in my class, or school for that matter, just never really got anywhere. And it sounds really, really shallow to sort of measure your self-worth and your beauty by that. But, you know, as a child, well, definitely for me, I just didn't know any better. I think I felt bad about it for a bit, but then you sort of get into a very apathetic mood about it all. You're just like, okay, whatever, if this is the way it's going to be. I definitely feel I've been lucky to grow up in this generation where the media has done a full-on 180. With the explosion of social media, things have become extremely more democratic. Social media can be very toxic for self-esteem, but also I think it exposes you to an entirely new world. I follow so many body-positive influencers and melanated women, and I think it reinforces how much diversity there is in this world, and you don't need to be afraid or you don't need to feel bad about what your skin color is. You can really embrace it. So I'm very lucky that I got to grow up in this generation, and I don't feel bad at all about what I feel really pretty, I feel great about my skin color, and I would never ever change it. I've personally never experienced humiliation, and nor have I seen other people experience humiliation, but obviously we live in a world where there's news 24/7, so you always hear a story every day about, a wife being, a prospective fiance being rejected purely because she is darker skinned, or a model not being put up for a job because she's darker than others, and it just simply wouldn't fit the brand aesthetic. I don't think I've ever had that happen to me before. I like that second part of the question, cornered in the setting, because I feel when I went to university in England, and I was probably one out of, maybe about 70 people in a drama department, and I was the only colored girl, or should I say like the only Asian girl. And it kind of makes you feel like you're quite lonely and you're not really surrounded by people who understand what you're going through. And you sort of feel like the exotic part of the department. So yeah, that was an interesting, I think, feeling to go through. You sort of feel like the exotic part of the department. So yeah, that was an interesting, I think, feeling to go through. I mean, you only need to look through newspapers and matrimonial ads to see so many parents wanting fairer-skinned girls for their sons. And it's definitely a problem when it comes to picking a partner. For me, it's a non-issue, and I've never picked a partner based on what the shade of their skin is. Having said that, for me, it was quite that the idea of colorism was quite ingrained in me, to the fact that when I had experiences with guys who are white, I would always consistently be thinking, do they care that I'm brown? Do they care that I'm another color? Does this bother them? And it was only then that I realized, oh, actually, I think colorism has affected me more than I thought I was affected by it. Definitely. You only need to look through, I think, several advertising agencies and look at different adverts, even for hotels. It's always going to be lighter skinned people advertising it, or even white people, basically, rather than people who are melanated, people who are brown skinned, because it's just ingrained that white skin will sell you more things than somebody who is darker. There's a sort of wealth and dignity and respect that surrounds a lighter shade than a darker shade, and I put it all down to casteism, the colonial hangover, and just pure racism, actually, sometimes. I definitely do not think they should be sold. I think it's clinically proven that it's not going to help you at all. It will not make your skin lighter. In fact, it could give you severe side effects like burning and peeling. I do not understand why these products are still on the market. It still promotes colorism to a great extent. It promotes the fact that lighter skin is better than darker skin, which is completely untrue. Fair and Lovely recently said that we were going to rebrand their product, but it doesn't take away from the fact that their product shouldn't be on the market. I'd say give the middle finger to anybody who makes you feel less than your worth purely because of your skin color. I think it's important to know that there is an entire community and an entire world out there that's just ready to lift you up and elevate you, and we don't care what your skin color is. We see you for you. I've always believed that our differences are the things that make this world tick. It's what makes this world work, and there is a great opportunity for your uniqueness to shine, and if you just lean into it, I think you'll find a lot of joy and a lot of success and a lot of happiness.